It's Storytime Productions.
Hello, my friends. Here is 3 true life camping horror stories. Watch to the end. Tell me which story would be the scariest to encounter. And thanks to my subscribers for emailing these in and letting me share. Enjoy.
Story 1.
The forecast promised clear skies when we set out for Misty Lake Campground, a secluded spot surrounded by thick woods. Eager for a weekend away from the city, my friends and I joked about old campfire legends as we pitched our tents beside the silent, mist-shrouded lake. As darkness fell, a dense fog rolled in, swallowing the light from our fire and reducing our world to a small, flickering bubble in the night. We settled into our tents after a night of stories and laughter. Sometime deep in the night, a sharp, piercing cry jolted me awake. It sounded human, a cry of anguish or terror, echoing across the lake. My friends heard it too. We gathered, shivering not just from the cold but from fear, discussing whether someone might be in trouble. Armed with only flashlights, we decided to investigate. It seemed the right thing to do. As we approached the water's edge, the cry came again, louder, closer. The beam of my flashlight cut through the fog, revealing nothing but the murky, undisturbed waters of the lake. We spread out, calling into the mist, our voices muffled and absorbed by the heavy air. Suddenly, a cold wind swept across the lake, dispersing the fog for a moment. In that brief clarity, I saw a figure standing in the lake, water up to its knees, facing away from us. I called out, but the figure didn't respond, didn't move. Heart pounding, I approached slowly, my flashlight's beam fixed on the back of the figure. It was a woman, her long, wet hair clinging to her pale skin. I reached out to touch her shoulder, and as my fingers brushed her, she turned abruptly. Her face was devoid of features, smooth and blank like a mannequin's. I stumbled back in horror as she took a step forward, reaching out with arms that were too long, her fingers tapering into sharp, twisted claws. I screamed, and my friends rushed to my side. We retreated as the figure waded slowly after us, disappearing once more into the fog as we neared our campsite. We grabbed our gear and fled, never looking back. The cries continued behind us, a haunting lament that seemed to follow us as we escaped the woods. To this day, I can't explain what we saw at Misty Lake. But sometimes, when the fog rolls in on cold nights, I hear that cry again, distant yet chillingly close, and I wonder if she's still out there, waiting in the mist.
Story 2.
It was meant to be a simple weekend getaway at Old Pine Trail, a remote spot known more for its stunning views than its eerie legends. As avid campers, we thought we knew what to expect: rustling leaves, distant howls, and the occasional critter scurrying nearby. But nothing could have prepared us for that night. As dusk settled, a dense fog enveloped our campsite, and the usual chorus of wildlife fell eerily silent. We gathered around the fire, its crackling flames offering a small comfort against the creeping chill. It was then we heard the first unsettling noises. Heavy, deliberate rustling in the bushes, far too loud to be any small forest animal. Curiosity mixed with anxiety, we shone our flashlights into the surrounding thicket. The light caught glimpses of something large, its eyes reflecting a haunting glow back at us. The creature seemed to circle our camp, each pass growing ominously closer. Its movements were accompanied by a low, guttural growling that resonated through the cold night air. Determined to see what stalked us, I cautiously approached the edge of the campsite. The brush parted suddenly, and I found myself staring into the most horrifying sight. The creature, towering and humanoid, had long, matted fur and limbs that bent unnaturally. Its face was a grotesque mask of animal and human features, twisted in a snarl that revealed sharp, yellowed teeth. Frozen in place, I could only watch as it stepped forward, its eyes burning with a malevolent intelligence. It raised one clawed hand as if to beckon, then turned and vanished into the fog as quickly as it had appeared. The forest remained deathly quiet, as though every creature was holding its breath. We spent the night huddled together, too afraid to sleep, jumping at every sound. At dawn, we packed up and left, the morning light doing little to dispel the terror of the night. No trace of the creature remained, but the unnerving feeling of being watched lingered long after we left Old Pine Trail. Now, whenever I hear stories of strange sightings or unexplained noises in the woods, a chill runs down my spine, and I wonder if what we saw was merely passing through, or if it was a guardian of those woods, ensuring we would never truly feel welcome there.
Story 3.
Our adventure began innocently enough. A weekend escape to Silver Lake, famed for its clear waters and the tiny forested island at its center. The island had an old cabin, long abandoned, which piqued our curiosity enough to plan a day trip to explore it. We joked about finding treasure or ghosts as we loaded up the boat, the warm sun belying the darkness of our upcoming encounter. The island was smaller than expected, with the cabin nestled among overgrown pines, its windows dark, its woodwork rotting. Something about the place felt off, but we were too caught up in the thrill to heed our instincts. Pushing open the creaking door, we stepped inside, the air stale with the scent of decay and old secrets. The cabin was a time capsule, dust-laden and scattered with relics of a life long gone. We were rummaging through some old rusty tools when we heard it. Footsteps outside, heavy and deliberate. Peering out, we saw two figures approaching, their features rough and wild, like characters straight out of a backwoods horror story. The larger of the two spotted us and shouted something unintelligible, his voice filled with an unsettling excitement. Panic set in. We bolted out the back door, our hearts pounding as we sprinted through the underbrush towards our boat. Behind us, the men gave chase, yelling and laughing maniacally. The woods seemed to close in around us, branches snagging our clothes, roots tripping our feet. We reached the boat, shoved off, and cranked the motor to life, pushing it to its limits as we fled across the lake. Just as we thought we were clear, a gunshot rang out, echoing across the water. A bullet thudded into the side of our boat, a stark reminder of how narrowly we'd escaped. We didn't stop until we reached the safety of the other shore, our breaths heavy, our nerves shattered. We reported the incident, but the police found no one when they searched the island. The cabin was empty, as if we'd imagined everything. But the bullet hole in our boat was all too real, a chilling testament to our terrifying encounter. We never returned to Silver Lake, the memory of that day haunting us like a persistent shadow. Sometimes late at night, I still hear the echo of that gunshot, a sharp reminder of the day we stumbled upon something truly horrifying. That's some crazy stuff. I couldn't imagine having any one of those encounters. They are all terrifying. But I'm glad no one was hurt, or worse. They all made it home safe with a hell of a story to tell. Tell me which one is scariest in the comments, and subscribe if you have not already, and smash that like button for me. It is much appreciated. And as always, my friends, I will see you on the dark side. Sweet nightmares.
Twisted.